All right, here we go. Hey, welcome everybody to the Pajama Gramma podcast. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, also known as the Pajama Gramma, and this is why I'm a grandma. We have the amazing Deepika Shah with us today, and she is going to tell us a little bit about what she does and why she does it. So welcome, Deepika. I called you Deepika. What am I thinking? I'm thinking Kansas. I told you it's past my bedtime. Anyway, welcome, Deepika, to the podcast. So glad to have you here tonight. Or today.
So thank you so much.
Night for me.
Yeah. So thank you so much. So hi everyone. I am Deepika, all the way from India, and it's 8 a.m. here. So it's pretty good, to talking to someone all the way from across the globe who's in another time zone. So I am basically a mindset empowerment coach to female entrepreneurs. So I really believe, and I've experienced this from my personal experiences, that when you convert your pain into your superpower, that's the best thing that has ever happened to you. Because whatsoever you want to achieve in your life, if you want to have some kind of superpower, you already have that within you. And that is whatever, blocks or limiting beliefs you may be having in form of pains. If you just convert them, you can achieve just about anything in your life.
I love that. So how long have you been doing this type of work, and what led you to do this type of work with female entrepreneurs?
So I have been doing this, like I always wanted to be a coach, but I was not sure should I be going into this, because I'm basically a management student. So I've completed my master's, and I've completed my master's in supply chain. So I'm a very technical person. I have been doing a job for 4 years regarding this, but then somehow I had a really life changing experience actually, where I almost lost my life. But I got saved. So if you want, I can share that with you.
I would love for you to share that with us.
So the thing is that I've always been very spiritual, because my mother is very spiritual, because my mother's father was a very, very spiritual person. In fact, he was a spiritual teacher, where he was actually able to just go ahead and read future for predict future, and they were really accurate. So what happened was, being a spiritual person from my childhood, I always believed in guardian angels, the people who really protect us. So after I completed my teenage is a time where everything is like, a spiral. You take one wrong decision and you keep going inside. It's like such a exciting period also, but sometimes you go the wrong way also. So I think I went quite a wrong way, and I ended up with really bad relationship, which really hampered me, because it was my first relationship, and I was really emotionally broken down because of that. So what happened was, I let that come over me so bad that I was like I think not in depression, but I was so sad all the time. I didn't feel like doing anything. And that's because I had just completed my college. So I was like, let's take up a job, because I need to think something else. I need to have a change. So I take up a job. Now, if you're India, you may know that we have local transportation here, that is trains. Okay, so if you want to go from one place to another, you have these local trains. They are at the peak at 9 a.m. and then 7 p.m. Like at this time, it is at its peak. It's so crowded, because everyone is office goers, all the middle class people, they have to travel there. So I used to go from that, because it's the fastest way to reach anywhere. So once I climb in, and it's so crowded that I literally had to be at the last. I was standing on the foot of the train. Now I'm standing there, and suddenly I get such a bad push that I lose my balance. Now I'm very sure that I was the last person. I didn't fall off the train, and I actually was pushed again inside. Now I'm very sure I am the person who is last, but still I didn't fall off the tracks. And that was, that push not only saved me from falling off the train, but somewhere that push, it gave me such an, it was like an emotional touch, or emotional push. It just made me come back to my senses, that what am I doing with my life? Just because one relationship got over, that doesn't mean that I have to live my life like this. That's when I realized, okay, I need to do something else. And that's when I told everything to my mother, and then my mother introduced me to some other spiritual teachers that she knew about. I started doing meditation, and that's when I realized that I had two guardian angels, not one, and they are called as Crystal and Charlie. And that experience that I had on the train that day, that was because each night before sleeping, I used to tell God that please send someone to help me, because I cannot live like this. I cannot keep crying all night. I really want to be happy from within. I'm so done with being like this. And that's when everything, like that push made me realize everything. And that's when I realized that just because one relationship broke, it doesn't mean my life is over. It just means that that puzzle piece was not good fit for my life. That's when I need to move on. And that's when I experienced this self confidence, this self love, this I cannot even explain you, but I was like so encouraged and so empowered from within. And I was like, I need to share this with others too. Because I see so many females who want to create so much for their life, for their business, but then they are stuck somewhere because of this relationship or because of their bad childhood or just some pain. So that's what I do now. So I help them overcome their pain through spirituality and very much logical and consistent strategy that can help them to actually achieve their dreams rather than just being stuck in that past vortex.
I love that. I think a lot of us and all of us know a couple of things from your story. Number one, almost everybody gets their heart broken. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm divorced now, and I don't know that broke my heart, but all of us at some point, and it's especially hard if it's your first love. I know that happened to my son and my daughter too. I mean, I guess everybody I've ever known, but we all feel like it's only us and we're all alone, and that it's the most devastating thing in the whole wide world. That,
Yeah.
and then I also relate to you talking about your journey and how you went on a journey after you had this idea or this thought or this epiphany that changed everything, this event that changed everything. And I think we all get those events, but we don't always listen to them. And
Yeah.
my old personal experience, I got a lot of events like that, but I didn't listen to them. And they came to me in the forms of health challenges and illnesses, up to and including a sudden cardiac arrest, where I actually died and am lucky to be here. And that was my final wake-up call to say, okay, really? Is this how you want your life to be? And that's when I started to go on a spiritual journey to find out, okay, well, what is this all about? What is this thing called life? What am I supposed to be doing? Because I'm obviously doing it wrong. I think all these things leading up to this event are what I'm supposed to be doing and should be doing to be a good mom. And I wasn't a grandma yet then, but a good wife, a good mother, a good person, a good business owner. And it turns out it was just a lot of busy stuff that didn't really matter. And it didn't make me happy. I was probably the most miserable I've ever been at that point. So I love that you have learned at a young age that we get to choose and we get to decide what we want our life to be like and what kind of experiences we want to have. And that we don't have to be sad and depressed and lonely and fearful and whatever else all the time. You can play with those. They're paper clips. Yes, those are colored paper clips. Grandma is a bit of an office supply hoarder, so and I'm moving, so I've got boxes and piles of stuff everywhere, which is fascinating to a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful. So in your business today and working with female entrepreneurs, how do you go about finding the women? How do they find you, or how do you find them, the women that you work with and you coach and that you help?
So the first mainstream of customers for me is Instagram, because apart from coaching, so in my last job, because I was such a technical person, I always started, I always wanted to learn something new. And that's when I started, learning social media. And my job also included part of social media. And that's when I started learning Instagram. And so today I have one Instagram account of my personal account, which I grew it from 10 to 54. Now it's currently at 55K. So I'm also an Instagram expert. So now what I do is that I run my own coaching Instagram where I get clients from. Second all, I have a lot of personal contacts, and then third things, I do a lot of public speakings at my place, in my locality. So it's all about, networking and getting people from, this word of mouth, so someone refers me to someone else, because I always prefer working with someone who are ready to invest in them, not money wise but time wise, because I see a lot of people who want to change their life. They have the idea that they want to change their life, but when it actually comes to doing it, they don't do it. So it's really important, to find people through people who I know that they're going to work on whatever I give them, because if they don't change the way they do it, it's kind of, a failure on my part also, because if I'm their coach and if I tell them to do something, it should inspire them to do that, take action. So I take a lot of customers only through personal reference, because I don't want to waste my time and energy on someone who is just in love with the idea of changing their life but don't actually want to change their life.
Absolutely. That's one thing I think we all learn as we go through working with people and finding the right people for us to work with. And it all boils down to whether people really want to take action on the changes that they say they want. We all want to be billionaires or millionaires. We all want to be, we all want all these things, but it's, are you willing to take the actions and the steps that will move you toward that or will help you achieve that? And unfortunately, the vast majority of people aren't. I've heard of statistics the other day, and I'm not a big believer in statistics, but I do believe that this is true. But I think somebody said that only like 3% of the population in the entire world is actually ambitious, meaning they want something and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get it. That's how they defined ambition. And I think that's so true. I mean, there's a reason 95% of businesses fail. There's a reason 95% of people, drop their New Year's resolutions or whatever. It's because we want things, but we don't want to take the steps to achieve those things.
Correct.
Yeah, that's sad. So do you have like a favorite customer story or a favorite client story that you would share with us?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, when I first heard it, so I actually started crying. The thing is that there is this girl, okay, she was actually, I have known her for quite some time, and she was always so cheerful, but then she just stopped talking to me for like good 5 to 6 years. And then suddenly I get her call because she has seen one of my video on Instagram, and she's like, can you help me? I was like, what's wrong? So she's like, right, I got married. I was like, yeah. So what happens is, here in my place in India, if you do intercaste marriage, like if you get married to someone outside of your own religion, there are a lot of judgment about that person there. So what happened is, she was Hindu, okay, and then she got married to some another Hindu in some other religion. So because of that, her parents didn't accept that. So her parents told her that once you get married, you're off, don't contact us ever again. So she was like, okay. Now the husband is really nice to her for some time, just for a few months. And then everything is like, it just turned overnight. So she's calling me. The first thing she tells me that, listen, I think I'm going to commit suicide. I was like, what happened? Why are you saying such a drastic thing? So she was like, no, I did the biggest mistake in my life. He doesn't love me anymore. His family is constantly, they don't behave well with me. It's like I feel like torture all the time. And she also has a kid who's only 2 years old, and she doesn't have a job. She's not earning. She's totally dependent on him. The parents are not supporting her anymore. So it's like she was totally surrounded by this, and she thought the only way out was this. And that's when I told her that, okay, listen, first you tell me what's wrong, and then for next 2 hours I just kept listening to whatever was wrong. And then what happened was, I told her that from today onwards, stop paying attention to what your husband is doing to you. You pay attention to what you're doing to your own self. So what I realized was, majority of the time she was blaming herself for the way he was treating her. She was like, okay, maybe I didn't deserve it, maybe I was like this only. Maybe God is punishing me to go against my parents. And there was so much of self-blame. There was so much of self-guilt that, okay, I deserve it. And that's when I told her that you don't deserve it, okay? Like, whatsoever happens in your life, everyone deserves to be happy. So you need to start changing your way for your kid now. So I started telling her that, okay, let's start with self-love, and let's start with, writing a journal for yourself each day. And, everything changed. And today now she has a job, and her husband is so much more better with her because she changed her perspective towards her life rather than focusing on what others were doing to her.
In a couple minutes. 1 second. I'll be done in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
You can get some water from Grandma, okay? And from Uncle Jake. Okay, we're just going to ignore her. That's amazing. I love that story. And you know, like you said, there's so many people, and I think it's human nature that we go to these extremes. We see and we think we only have one path or one way of thinking based on the way we were raised and our beliefs and the way they impact us. And we get down this road and we start going down this road and we think that we're trapped and we're stuck in that road. There's so many people I know, and I remember in corporate America, people get in a job and you feel like you've got a family, you've got obligations, you have to do this, you committed to this job, and you're stuck there forever. And we're not. We always have the ability to choose and change our mind anytime we want. Come here. Come here. Come back up on my lap. Come on. Little ones need sleep. All right. So that's all I have to say about that, I guess. I sound like who is that actor? I can't remember the story, that movie. That was funny. What else was I going to ask you? So how can people get in touch with you? How can they find and work with you? I would imagine you do a lot of things online and social media. I really want to ask a whole bunch of questions about Instagram personally, because I don't get Instagram at all. And I like to think it's because I'm old and that's my excuse. But I think it's that I just haven't spent time and energy trying to figure out how it works. But, I love Instagram. I just don't get it. I mean, I haven't figured out what to do and how to do it. So
maybe we can do another session regarding it. I can give you a lot of tips.
That would be right. That would be really interesting. I think it would be helpful for the listeners, because I think there's a lot of business owners like me where we know we should be doing things on social media. So we're dabbling and doing certain things, but we're not really getting the results that we should be getting and could be getting, because we're not doing the right things. And I know I'm guilty of that.
So I can definitely help you with that, because Instagram is not so tough that it looks like. There are just few steps that you need to follow, and then once you keep doing that on regular basis, you'll definitely get results.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. So would you say that Instagram is your favorite way to find clients and customers, or do you still think word of mouth is and I get with coaching, I think it's such an intimate relationship. I actually do coach people, and I screen them, and I don't work with even 50% of the people that would want to work with me, because I know that it's such an intimate thing and it takes so much of my time that I'm really picky, and I want to make sure there's a really good fit between them and me. So do you have most of your coaching clients come from word of mouth then? I think you said that a little bit, but
so what I'm doing is that, I want to target more of international clients now, because I want to, expand my experience. I just don't want to be at one place all the time. So I would say Instagram is the best thing, because all the features that are available on other social media is also available on Instagram, and it is because it is owned by Facebook. So the Facebook is just like, another SEO now. Whatever you put on Facebook, if it and whatever you put on Instagram, and because it is owned by Facebook, the chances of it getting more attention is so much high. And Instagram, the best thing that works with Instagram is putting videos. So I actually got like a lot of calls for customers because they saw my videos on Instagram, because they saw me doing some stuff on my stories, and then you have those story highlights. So there is so much. Now you also have IGTV, where you can put longer time. You put longer videos there. So it's basically like if you spend 24 hours on Instagram for next like 1 week, or take 20 days, by the 21st day you will definitely get result, because it is so huge now. And majority of the people, if I would say there are 100 people living in the world right now, 99 people are on Instagram most of the time. They're always scrolling, they're always trying to find something new, something exciting. And it is such a huge universe. You have so many hashtags, like you have space for every kind of thing that you can think of. You have people who can make stuff through whipped cream. They mix in some stuff and they can create beautiful arts from there. You have people who create beautiful art from socks. You are basically for everything that you can think of. And I think if you can use that platform really strategically and properly, I think that's the best thing that will happen to your business.
That's really good advice. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to actually pay attention to my Instagram because
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that seems like I go backwards in followers more than I go forward. So I don't look at the numbers because they
Yeah.
don't work for me. So that's
Yeah.
amazing. We'll have to have a chat. We'll have to do an interview about Instagram. Um,
Yeah, we can do that.
so you're online on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle? Because that's probably where you want people to find you. Yes.
Yeah. So you can find me. The name of my Instagram handle is Focused Mind Power. So if you focus your mind power in the right direction, you can achieve anything, right? So that's what it's called. It's Focused Mind Power.
Focus, mind, power. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, do you have any other words of advice or wisdom for our listeners besides they need to get their Instagram together?
So it's like basically for females, because more than men, I think if something really bad happens in our life, we get more affected, because that's how we are. We are more emotionally in tune towards our emotions and towards anything that happens. And most of the time what we do is we let that affect us so much that somewhere along the way we lose ourselves. And I just want to say to all those females out there, who want to achieve their dreams, but they are stuck somewhere, fighting all these emotions within. So I just want to tell them one thing, that whatever has been happened in your life, those are not coincidence. God has given you those events because he wants you to reach somewhere. So you need to trust yourself, trust the process, that whatever happens, something good will come out of it. Just whatever has been happened with you, take take those experiences, convert them into something really amazing for you that can propel you faster forward, and then see how beautiful life can be. Nothing is ever permanent. Everything can change the minute you change your thoughts, that okay, I want to change my life now, I'm done living like this.
I love that. So as soon as you make a decision to change even just your mind, everything can change
Yeah.
for you.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Deepika, for hanging out with my granddaughter and I. We so appreciate it.
Yeah.
I hope you have a
I loved it
fantastic
too.
day.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll talk
Thanks.
soon. All right,
Yeah.
bye.
Bye.